Well, hey YouTube, talking about side effects of drugs. I was put on metformin, which is a diabetes type 2 med, and I noticed I started, I didn't like meat. Like, every time I ate bacon, it tasted off, when I was like, where'd you get this bacon? Asking my wife, like, was it from some on sale thing? Is it old? Or, like, it wasn't just the bacon, it was meat. All meat started tasting gamey. It just, and I ended up Googling this, and I saw another person had the same side effect where if they thought about eating a burger, they would get a gag reflex. It was that bad for them. It wasn't that bad for me. It was just when I ate meat, it didn't and I'm not like one of these like psycho meat lover person. I like when I have a ideal meal, it'll have some meat, but it'll have a salad. There'll be a vegetable. I like a lot of sides. I like the bread with it. I like to really have a full balanced thing where you got butter on the bread, there's dressing on the salad, you know, and then some meat. And I know there are people out there. I'm related to one who they won't have any of that other stuff. If it's up to them, they'll just have the bread and the meat, and that's fine. But just to give you some perspective on who I am, so anytime you take any medication, you really want to look at all of the side effects and learn about how your body reacts and watch out for this stuff. And really just be careful as you go along. Anytime you're prescribed anything, pay attention to your body and what's happening. Keep a journal. If stuff starts acting up, immediately type in, if you notice something, you know, you type in that side effect and then type in to Google. You'll type in the name, so you would type metformin and then meat tastes bad. Metformin affects taste food, and Google that and look, because see, for some of us, my body, for all of us, all of our bodies react a little bit differently to whatever the chemical may be, and some of us just have bizarre, weird allergies, and when you take this medicine, it's supposed to make you sleepy, it makes you hyper. You never know. I seem to be the person that has all of the side effects that aren't listed. Like, they'll have the common side effects, they'll have the not so common side effects, then they'll have the rare side effects. Well, I might fall into that rare or ultra rare, where the doctors don't know about it, but if you go on the forum, there'll be a handful of people that had the same thing. So for me, metformin, the diabetes drug, also triggered chronic anxiety. I had the diarrhea with it, and then I had fear of impending doom. I felt like I was tripping. It was horrible. It was like I was dying. That's what it felt like, but terror. Now, I had already gone through this when, in 2016, with another drug, testosterone therapy replacement drug. I was putting that gel on my arms, and that lasted like a quarter. It was really bad for about 2 months. Like, it was like the closest I've come to being, it was like I was being tortured. The list of symptoms was so long. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I had chest pains, I had this fear, I felt like I was tripping, I constantly had the shit, I had horrible diarrhea, and it never let up. And I had vertigo, chest pains, restricted breathing, I couldn't lay down, claustrophobia, fear of impending doom, hallucinations, this thing where I would fall asleep and I would catnap after I had been up for, let's say, 4 days of no sleep. I would finally conk out, and I would wake up 10 minutes later, and it felt like my soul had left my body, and I did not know who I was. And it felt like I was being born again into terror. It was one thing, it was just the worst, death, like I was being born into death. I didn't know who I was, and then it slowly came back to me as this, like, it was very psychedelic, the whole experience. And so that's chronic anxiety that was triggered. It's not a panic attack. It's better described as chronic anxiety because of the fear of impending doom, which I first experienced that when I was stung by a bee. I went into anaphylactic shock. So this is, I've been in this place 3 times, maybe 4, counting one time when I was a kid and I was stung by a bee at a church school. My mom was there, and I said, this bee stung me and I'm tripping. Go lay down on that picnic table over there. We'll pray for you. And so I wrote that out. And then another time I got stung by a bee, and I experienced this psychedelic death trip from the anaphylaxis. And that, I wept. I came home and I just could not stop weeping. And I was fine. It was the shock. I was in shock. My brother saw me. He said my head turned red and was like a pumpkin head. He kicked me out of the car to the curb to ride it out because he thought that I was lying, even though I was like, I think something's really wrong with me. And my pores had opened up and sweat was pouring out of my arms. And I'm like, look, at your arms are completely dry. He's like, yeah, it's hot. So yeah, I've had a really bad history with my family reacting to me being, and I'm not the hypochondriac in the family. I know I'm always talking about health stuff on YouTube. I'm so sick of saying in 2016 I got really sick, but I've lived like, I kind of have had a bad health history, you know. Like it was always something was up. Like unbelievable colds that would last months with horrible sinus infections, ear infections, poison ivy covering my whole body for years, then chronic gout, then I hurt my back, and then now I've got this whole laundry list of stuff that they're giving me all kinds of different medications. They put me on Paxil because I had I didn't ask for the testosterone therapy. They gave me that. I had the chronic anxiety thing. They gave me Paxil, and that put 55 pounds on me. So now I'm supposedly diabetes type 2. So they give me metformin, which triggers me to go back. So the point of why I'm bringing this to you is maybe you've taken metformin, maybe you're having the anxiety, maybe you're having this meat reaction, or meat tastes bad. So yeah, you need to stop taking the metformin, or if it's the testosterone therapy drug. I probably have another video on this channel where I said the same stuff. I don't think I talked about the meat thing of it so much, but we'll see. And I will, if I do end up going through this experience, I'll talk about it. I talk about this on my YouTube channel when I mean, normally I don't talk about health stuff. It's more about music, but making guitar and guitar pedals, and I record home music here. So I do like to talk about this stuff as to keep my own record, and I also think maybe it would be helpful because I know me. I'm gonna go to YouTube. I'm gonna be typing in this stuff and trying to find, is there someone else that went through this and got past it? So when it's coming on and it's consuming me, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna want to jump off of a bridge, I could see a video and someone could say, well, you know what, if you stop taking the metformin, go to an emergency room, make sure that they give you something to deal with this panic or the terror, and that will be very helpful. And then eventually, in time, your body will stabilize and things will go back to normal. In my case, that's what it was, and it's always been bizarre side effects to the medication that aren't the common side effects. You know, amoxicillin gives me massive ulcers in my mouth. So the meat taste thing was really weird, and I couldn't believe it when I read that that was a side effect of this metformin. So we just want to really be smart. I'm going to try to do my best when I do the tags for this, so people will be able to find it under whatever applicable circumstances. So anyway, I have the comments shut off because this channel has fallen victim to some trolls. But you can get a hold of me. You can find me. It's not that hard to find me. You can get a hold of my email, or leave a comment on an older video. Leave a few comments. Be consistent. Keep at it. And if you want to talk to me, I'll. The only thing is I don't like communicating in public on the YouTube comment section. If you want to talk to me, you're going to have to get an email address, or we can friend each other on Facebook. But even that is that tiny little window. I really don't like doing that. I would rather email. So you can have you can come up with a temporary email address, or you should have a secondary account where you deal with kooks such as myself. Anyway, I like to say good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. That's something I like to say. I'm not a Zoroastrianism person, but I think that's good. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds puts me in a decent place where I need to be in the sea of negativity that is the internet. Anyway, you guys, peace, and I hope you feel better soon.